Here with Coach Anna Nimz as the Demons get ready for a big week this week, heading to Monroe on tomorrow to play a really good Warhawks team. We'll talk about that. And then sort of finishing this week, starting next week down in Baton Rouge against those Tigers down there. But before we get into those games, Coach, talk to us about the Demons a little bit, specifically as we look at these, really the last two games, specifically that one against Tarleton where as we look back further to that Grambling game where you talked about we needed a little bit more poise, a little more composure down the stretch to kind of pull that one out, unable to do it. 2 weeks later, we were able to finish a tough one on the road against Southern, able to come back in the second part of that second half against Tarleton to finish off the win. How encouraging is it for you to see sort of that poise come that quickly in two big games and two big wins?
Yeah, I think the girls are just collectively believing in the process, believing in one another, and I think they're playing for one another. I think you see a lot of joy and happiness kind of on the court when they're playing. It's been nice to see that their defense is taking a front seat instead of a back seat. Sometimes, in the past, maybe we've allowed our offense to decide how hard we were playing on defense, and it hasn't been the case, right? So just a lot of mental toughness there, a lot more maturity happening, and with maturity comes composure. All the way back to the Grambling game, I just don't think we were ready to win. Coming off those three tough losses against the Power 5 schools, we hadn't learned yet how to win, and then we were able to grab a couple here at home, and I think that absolutely gave us the confidence and belief in knowing that they can, and that if we can just take a pause, take one deep breath, I tell them all the time, 1001, that we can play with a lot more composure, and I think just although we've gotten better every game with that composure, there's so many little things that if we can, again, dial it back, take a deep breath, make the smart play and not the forced play, I think our offensive production is going to go up. But again, super excited about, yes, their composure, but really excited about there's the grit and toughness they're showing on defense.
Excuse me. Speaking of the offense, we had those couple games where we really went off and really in those games did what we needed to do against those opponents. But another encouragement I think it's got to be for you is as we look at the past 8 games of the season, 6 different players have led us in scoring across those 8 games. So proof of something we talked about before the season that we have the scores, we have the spread out type of offense that we can create. It's just kind of getting to that point of putting it all together consistently. Yeah,
and I think it's just continuing to grow our basketball IQ. It's what we've really focused on here in the last couple days, and it's made it pretty difficult for the girls because it's not for lack of effort, it's not for lack of go hard, it's a matter of maybe where we're catching it a foot too low or where we're cutting a step too soon. And the second we can really get those details really corrected, I think you'll see that offensive production go up where more collectively you'll see a scoring effort because like you said, 6 different kids have led us, but we need to see that more collectively throughout, especially these last 2 games. Offense was coming really hard for us, creating some shots, just not maybe connecting on them. So I think like I said, the more disciplined we can be and the more composed, as you have referenced, we're going to be able to see some more fluidity throughout our game.
Yeah. So moving into this week, starting with the game tomorrow against ULM, a much different ULM team than we've played the past 2 years. A lot of that's a lot of new players, new coach, all that sort of stuff. But their 7-1 record is fueled and carried by the one player that stands out, Deja Bradford, the transfer. How good a talent is she? How much of a challenge is she going to be tomorrow night?
Yeah, I mean, she's absolutely a Power 5 kid. She was a starter at Clemson. She was a tremendous player there, and she made the decision to go play for her junior college coach, and so she's not missing anything. She's a transfer that is every bit as good and could absolutely still be a starter and an impact player at the Power 5 level. She's just playing at the Sun Belt level at this moment, and she's making players around her better. She's a 3-level scorer. She really can do it all. And she's a kid, if you need a bucket, she's going to be able to get it for you. So just a tremendous player. And like I said, I think probably her biggest thing is that she makes everybody else so much better around her. But, although she's a great Power 5 transfer, you got a couple from Auburn, you got a lights out shooter from Southern Miss, there's a lot of firepower there. And then obviously there's a couple returners that were tremendous for ULM that are having even more impactful years this year. And so they're going to be a really tough team. Like I said, they have a lot of firepower. on the offensive end, and they have a ton of bounciness, speed, and athleticism on that defensive end. So we're going to have to stay locked in. We're going to absolutely have to show that composure and play our game, you know, regardless of where kids transfer from or come in from or out from. At the end of the day, you know, we just got to guard up. We got to stay true to what we do. And like I said, we've been really working on that next level of composure by putting together a couple messy practices that force some chaos. And I think the girls have done a great job. So I'll just focus in on us and controlling what we can control.
I mean, these games, like sort of like the one we just played at Charlton, they came in leading the WAC in field goal percentage. Going up against a team that has that firepower, it's got to be a fun, hopefully a fun challenge for everybody. The girls, the coaching staff, to put a good quality defense that we're playing right now against a team that can score like ULM. It's got to be a fun matchup in that sense.
Absolutely. It's last couple games, beating the defending SWAC champions, knocking off a WAC opponent, moving into another conference with lots of firepower. It's, can we maintain this and then extend and grow what we've done? And I think it's going to be a good measurement game for us because I don't think we have faced, some of the firepower that they have, even going all the way back to Nebraska and KU. It's just very different kind of firepower. And so it's, can we make the adjustments? Can we be extra disciplined? And then really focus on the one and done. And that's going to have to be a really big game key.
All right. Thanks so much, Coach.
Thank you.
Good luck against ULM.
Thank you.